Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm coming to you live from my house because I am still on maternity leave. I'm going to try to share this real quick. So I had to go into the office and do some consults this week, and just a few times. Don't think I'm a terrible mother for going into my office so soon. It's a blessing and a curse having your own business, right? But anyway, sorry, I just want to share this real quick. So I had a patient that I saw this week, and I thought, man, I need to do a live video about this because I think it's something that probably a lot of people experience, and that, like I said, it's probably a test that you haven't had done and that you need to have done. And so, sorry, let me do this real quick. So I had a patient that I saw this week, yesterday, and he has experienced colitis for a long time. And he's a patient that's, been more proactive in his health. So he has done, his own investigation on, what may be causing his colitis and what he needs to do to improve his health and things like that. So, he's not somebody that's just sat back and said, well, this is my life. But really, after doing a lot of investigation, the only thing he could really find that helped him was doing Humira, being on a medication, like a steroidal type medication, and he didn't want to do that anymore. He did not want to be on medication for the rest of his life, or, just have to have the reality of this is my life and this is what I'm going to deal with. So he tried a lot of supplements, he tried dieting and fasting, and he was able to improve it a lot. But in fact, even during our consult, he had to excuse himself several times to go to the bathroom. So if you don't know what colitis is inflammation of the colon, and it causes him to have diarrhea, and it causes him to have very urgently, he has to go to the bathroom. And if he doesn't get there, it's not going to be pretty. And he, he has other health issues that he was concerned about with his cholesterol and some hormone related things, but this is the biggest issue that he deals with. And he drug his feet for a long time, but finally we got some testing back, testing that I really had to convince him to do. And it's funny because it's a direct, it's, you have colitis, let's test your stool. That makes sense. Somebody that has a skin problem or a hormone problem, and I say, let's test your stool, they're probably like, what? Why? So it took him a long time. I think it's because he had tried a lot of stuff on his own, and he kind of thought, what is IBD? Inflammatory bowel disease. That's what that is. Shanna. And so he had been very proactive, and he had tried a lot of different things, supplements and testing and things like that. And so he probably thought to himself, like, well, there's nothing else that you can offer me. I've been to lots of doctors. I've listened to everything that they said, and there's nothing I can do. And so what are you going to be able to offer me that they couldn't? Or why is this going to give me answers when, I've done a lot of stuff with other doctors, and I've researched, and I've read books, and I've taken supplements, and nothing has really, things have helped, but nothing has really gotten rid of it. And so I think he was just kind of to the point in his life where this is just what I have to deal with, and that's it, and that's all. So we did some testing with him. I kept it kind of simple. He had a lot of blood work done with his doctor. Like I said, he had issues with his cholesterol, and he had done a lot on his own to lower that. And so there were some other things he was concerned about. But so we sent him for a food allergy test, and we sent him for a stool test. And so the food allergy test came back. He had quite a few food allergies, some of which he was not super excited about, but he'll live. And then we got a stool test. So I'm going to show you his stool test. Actually, let me make sure that we are protecting his information here. And I'm going to scroll up so you can't see his name. So I'm going to flip the camera around so that you can see the stool test. Before I do that, I'll explain a little bit. So the stool test is testing for his microbiome. We're testing for bacteria, what kind of bacteria he has. Does he have enough good guys? Does he have some bad guys? Does he have yeast? Does he have inflammatory markers? Does he, like, what does his digestion look like? What does his immune system look like? There's some other things we look for, but I'm just going to show you this first page. Real quick, let me flip this around so you can see on my computer. So you can see this first section here is kind of what I want to highlight. So, so you don't have to stare at the screen for a really long time. You can see over here, these are the good guys. We want to see a lot of these. So you can see he's got kind of low numbers, only a +1, +2, and then we couldn't even grow these two. Which is not good. So this is like your army. This is like your good guys, right? You need a lot of these to fight all the crap that comes in that you're exposed to. So he does not have a very strong army right now. And then we see over here, the red is bad, right? This is bacteria that we don't want. So he's got 2 bacteria that have way overgrown and that have caused a lot of issues in his spine, in his gut. I'm a chiropractor, so you know, it's going to happen. So he's got these bacteria over here that are not good and that are causing a lot of problems. Down here, they see if they can culture yeast. They couldn't culture it, but they saw a ton under the microscope. So you can see, they expect to see none or maybe rare, but he had a ton of yeast. So that right there, that's just the first page. There's like 5 pages after that. So if you have no good guys and you have a lot of bad guys in your gut, you have bacteria that aren't supposed to be there. You got yeast, which is going to happen if you don't have enough good bacteria. And if you have a bacterial infection, then yeast is kind of like, well, that's just probably going to happen. So those 2 things that are happening are causing a lot of problems. So if you think about it, he was on Humira. That's the only thing that really helped him. So it's a steroid, so it's just suppressing his immune system. It doesn't do anything to affect anything else. So it makes total sense why that wasn't really giving him the relief that he wanted, because he's got a wrecked gut. He doesn't have any good bacteria. He doesn't have any army to fight. I mean, your body goes to battle every day, right? Every day you eat food, you ingest chemicals, you ingest things that aren't supposed to be there, bad bacteria, food that hasn't been cleaned properly or cooked properly, all kinds of stuff that you're ingesting. And unless you have perfect digestion, once it gets down there, if you don't have any good guys to combat it, then that makes inflammation go way up, right? Your gut is going to start to become inflamed. So you don't have enough good guys, and then because you don't have enough good guys, your gut gets overrun by the bad guys. And bad bacteria starts to overgrow. They start to colonize. They start to multiply. And then, bam, now you have an infection in your gut. And then, bam, now you have yeast in your gut. And so on the next couple pages, he's got some inflammatory markers that are elevated. He's got some red blood cells in his gut. He's got a couple other things with his digestion. And so it's like a domino effect that occurs. So he could be on all the steroids in the world, and it would never completely get to the root of why he's experiencing what he's experiencing. He was shocked yesterday. He was like, wow, I've never heard any of this before. This is nothing that anybody's ever told me or advised me on or anything like that. So I love that we were able to get him some answers. And so now we have a plan. Now we know, okay, we got to get rid of the yeast. We got to get rid of the bacterial infections. We got to reduce the inflammation in your gut. We have to support your liver, and we have to do some of these other things. And that will help to start healing begin. Inflammation will start to go down. Those junctions, those tight junctions in his gut will start to get tighter, and then he won't have so much inflammation. So if we do a test that is going to give us some information on what's going on, and it's going to give us a plan of action. It's going to say, okay, this is what we need to do now. You don't have colitis just for no reason, right? You don't just get inflammatory bowel disease and then you just live with it for the rest of your life. There's a reason it's there. And he may have had some other stuff going on that set him up for this, but at least this gives us an answer as to what we should do first and how we should move forward first. Hi, Nancy. Thanks for all the likes. Oh, I just made my little guy jump. He's sleeping. I'll show y'all him in a minute. But anyway, so that all to say, if you have some issue going on, even if it's not related directly to your gut, like I said, I have patients that have hormone issues or issues with fatigue or other random stuff going on. And I say, let's do a stool test. And I'm sure for them, they're like, this lady's crazy. But he has colitis. He has an inflammatory bowel disease. And so, it makes sense. Let's do a stool test. Let's see what's going on there. But even if you have a condition that's not related to your bowel, I did a stool test on myself because I was having issues with my skin. I was having issues with my energy level. I was having other stuff going on that wasn't necessarily related to my bowel. And my stool test gave me a lot of answers too. So, does it give us answers in 100% of the patients that I send it to? No. Sometimes I get tests back and I'm like, not so bad. But for him specifically, and I think a lot of people with colitis and inflammatory bowel disease, IBS, Crohn's disease, all of those issues that can be very inflammatory in your bowel, you need to do a test like this. You need to. You have to, otherwise you're never really going to know what's going on. If you have done a stool test before with your doctor, most likely they're checking for a couple really bad bacterias and they're checking to see if you have blood in your stool, and that's about it. They're not really breaking down all of the stuff that we do for our patients at the Wellness Way. So this is mostly, for those of you who do have digestive issues and issues with your bowels. But share this with somebody. If you know somebody who has issues like this, please share this with them. They need to know so that they can get this test done. This test is not exponentially expensive. It's very reasonable. Just because your insurance doesn't pay for it doesn't mean it has to be like crazy expensive. I've seen stool tests that cost thousands of dollars. This does not cost thousands of dollars. And it's priceless because of the information it provides you with. So share this with if you know anybody, tag them in this video. I will be back in the office in March. I'm still on maternity leave, so I'll still be at home for a little bit. But call the office, send me a message, and I can give you more information about this test, and maybe other tests that we need to do to get you back on the right track. So, thanks for tuning in, guys. Please, share this video. Like I said, I'll show you my little guy since I am at home with him. There's my little squishy. He's so cute. He's sleeping. Duh. Hence why I'm doing this video, because he's asleep. But anyway, he is 3 weeks old today. And I'm not excited about having to go back to the office, but my patients, they get upset when I'm not there. So anyway, but they're being well taken care of by a friend of mine. So, share this video and tag your friends that need to hear this. And I will most likely go live next week again, probably end of the week. So y'all tune in then, all right? If you have any questions, send me your questions. And I will have an inflammation talk. I don't know when. I don't know if I probably won't have it the first week I'm back on maternity or from maternity leave, but I will be sure and post that on my Facebook page so that y'all know when I'm going to have my next inflammation talk if you're local. All right, y'all have an amazing Friday.